What's up, everybody? We're back. Digi Bro and Pals playing Earthbound. It's been a good week and a half, 2 weeks since we last played this, I think.
Yeah,
definitely. So we last played this after Denny's.
We don't talk about that.
Yeah,
yeah, that whole fiasco.
Yeah.
Fiasco.
The Denny's fiasco.
The Denny's incident, if you will. But that's in the past, man. That's leave the past behind.
I can't leave that in the past.
We've got Shade with us today.
Oh yeah, we do.
No.
Instead of Josh.
Who's Josh?
Wait,
he was in the Mario Tennis playthrough. Your PlayStation.
Am I supposed to see him? See, I'm like 7 miles away. I don't actually live in this house. But
do you live with me?
This place is a freakopolis.
Is your house 7 miles away?
Say it's roughly. It might be a little bit. It might be like actually 7 miles away. It's not very. It seems far, but it's not.
All right, Digi Bro's canon. I live with Trevor.
Please, God.
Shade, what happened to you this past week?
I graduated.
Oh my God, he actually gave a straight answer. I thought for sure you were gonna say like I ate a banana or some shit. Like
he graduated cylinder.
Yeah.
God.
The fuck is cylinder?
Graduated cylinder. It's a scientific apparatus for measurement of volume.
Please kill me. No.
I get you.
Wow, look at that.
No,
1
I
HP.
need to die. Well, I leveled up. It's fine. Oh, I need to die in this game.
Why do you need to die?
Because he's very depressed.
I need Trevor in order to get past this boss.
So
he's right
Shade,
next to you.
You graduated the high school, yeah?
No.
You walked across the stage?
How does that feel?
I actually graduated multiple things. I graduated high school. That's for one. I also graduated top of my class in
really?
In the singing.
Singing what?
I also.
Shade did not graduate top of his class in any capacity, just to clarify.
I also graduated.
You were not even an honors student.
I graduated from the bottom, now I'm here. And
he did go to ATC, which is explain what ATC is.
ATC stands for the Advanced Technology Center.
Right.
They've got computers.
Basically,
and
like
look at them.
Junior college, because it takes place. It's the ATC is at the college.
Yes.
Tidewater Community College, where Shade will be going starting next semester.
Yeah.
Hopefully, assuming those guys actually work out your damn schedule.
Yeah, did you get your schedule worked out?
I didn't do it.
No,
you can do it online, like right now.
It won't work online.
Both of my this is how organizing shit like that with my parents goes. I say, you guys should really do that like now, and they go, I know, we're gonna do it. And then you keep saying that for like 3 weeks, and then once it's like past the time when you should have done it, that's when it starts getting done. It is a difficult spot though, because my dad's work is going in a bad direction, so money might be tight soon.
What is?
Or money is tight now,
tight,
rather.
Tight like my butthole.
90.
Jesus Christ.
Tight like Mike.
But
like what?
Like Mike.
So Shade, you
Magic
graduated. Mike? You walked across the stage. They said Shade Collins and me.
Shade
and Trevor,
Isaac Collins.
Shade Isaac Collins and me and Trevor said, "There he is."
There he is.
There he is.
I did do that, and then I screamed.
Yeah, and then your friends Ray walked across the stage, but none of us realized until he was already like across the stage.
And I was like,
that's so sad.
And then Alan went up, and I went, "There he is."
I feel like I cheered the loudest for Alan. I was the most prepared.
Yeah, because he was his last name is Wiskowski, so he was all the way in the back, and we were like right behind him, so we knew where he was the whole time.
It was pretty exciting.
You guys should have kept on like talking to him like while he was sitting in the chair.
Oh, he didn't
so
listen
to keep
to
on
us.
like turning around and looking at you.
Didn't acknowledge me.
He didn't acknowledge any of us.
We're told not to acknowledge the crowd.
I see.
The crowd isn't even supposed to be like making that much noise.
Right. Well, that's what I hate about graduations is that like they try to pretend like it's like it is what it is not. They try to pretend like it's this. Oh, it's a solemn occasion. Everyone has to be quiet. The crowd can't scream. None of that happens. When you go to a graduation, it's always like a football game. Like, people are constantly screaming and jeering and shit. And it's funny, too, because when I graduated, they said at the start, before they started calling out all the names, they said, please hold your applause or your yells until all the students have crossed the stage. And of course, no one does that.
Right.
They all yell out anyways. So this time, they didn't even bother saying that. They were just like, you know, we'd appreciate it if you would, you know, try to be okay, but it's not gonna happen. People go ape shit. Their kids graduating. Fucking, that's the only people the event really matters to are like the parents. You know, like, the kids are just like, whatever. I'm fucking done. I don't want to be here anymore.
I want to sleep.
I'm done with high school. Get me out of here. Like, my summer vacation, man. You're cutting into my summertime. But the parents are like, I want to see my kid walk across the stage. I want to see him graduate the high school.
Look at the symbolism. That's all it is.
So you were in the same spot last time I was in here.
Yes, he died to the tentacle.
This is the hardest part of the game.
It's pretty fucking hard. It took me like a while.
Yeah, it's been long enough that I mean, not that I ever have kept up with what the hell's going on, but what the hell's going on?
Paula's been kidnapped by the department store spook.
Yes.
I see.
Which is an alien.
Is he an alien?
What's like the greater
definitely is an alien.
context of your quest right now? Just you're just in town and this happened to happen, or what?
Yeah.
The overarching thing that we're trying to get is the spots for our like soundstone melody locations.
Right. I know that part, but like, what drove you to this town? Just that you're here for the next soundstone, or?
No,
like,
we're trying to get past this town.
Okay.
We're kind of stuck because Porky and his dad and the entire family. Okay. I'm actually gonna die up here soon. Please, God. Please hit me.
You want to die again?
No, well, he does electrical shock attacks, and I had the Franklin badge on, so if it hits me, it's gonna reflect back to him.
I see.
There we go. But I do have to fight the department store spook.
And rescue Paula. I happened to get onto the other high schools, like streamed versions of graduations, and they like, it's like a much bigger production for Princess Anne, I think, because they have the IB program.
They have fucking money, that's why.
I don't know if it has anything to do with that. It's still a public school, but like they had people, they did it like a college graduation where one person walks across, they shake the principal's hand, grab their diploma, and they take a picture of that. And I was like, damn, they didn't do that for any of my graduation.
No.
Or Shades.
I've always heard that Princess Anne is like the nicest public school in the city. Like, it's,
well, I think
they've got better grades and better.
It's because of the IB program.
What is that?
The International Baccalaureate. It's like basically very accelerated, like even higher than AP classes, and it's like high school, and it's all college credit if I recall correctly. Like every class. It's pretty legit. Elizabeth was in that, and she actually dropped out.
Really?
Yeah.
I really do need Trevor in this game.
Yeah, you do.
You're so needed, Trevor.
You heard it here first, guys. Brandon needs me.
I could tell a story about what happened to me in AP English, because my mom brought it up, and did you ever hear that story, Trevor?
I don't think so.
About how I almost got kicked out of school?
Oh wait, yeah, didn't you write some like fucked up thing and they took it too far?
Basically, what happened was, and I don't think I've told this story anywhere online before, so this will be the first time I've finally told
exclusive.
It. Yeah. Like I think I've hinted at it before. Maybe I told it on Pub Crawl, who knows? But anyways, basically when I was in 11th grade, oh man, I kind of want to start from the outset. This might take 2 episodes to tell the whole story, depending on how much depth I go into.
Hey, man.
But
that'll
basically,
keep people, it'll keep viewers, retain viewers.
Yeah. So before I got into 11th grade, that was the point where like I hadn't done very well in like 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. I was kind of like slipping a lot and just, you know, wasn't really paying that much attention in class and shit like that. But after 10th grade, I was like, you know what? I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to try to do my best, right? Because I was, you know, my parents my whole life have pressured me to do well in school, even though I'm like, as a little kid I did, but as a teenager not so much. But like they were always, you know, hoping that I was going to go to college and be this genius that I was promised to be when I was a kid, right? So when I was going in 11th grade, I was like, man, I'm going to try to be that genius. I'm going to do all the advanced shit. I'm going to go the distance, and I'm going to go to a good college and all that good shit, right? So my plan was that I was going to go to ATC, which we just talked about, and also take advanced placement English. I wanted to do both of those, right? So so I had that was like written on what my schedule would be for the next year, but apparently I was like a year behind in math because I think I took like pre-algebra twice for some reason.
Did you fail it?
No, it was just something to do with like when I changed schools, I ended up taking the same class twice for some reason I don't know. So my guidance counselor had told me that the only way I'd be able to take both ATC and AP English was if I took that like another math class during the summertime. She had told me that, right?
Right.
So on the first day of school, I haven't heard anything about how ATC works. I still don't even understand it. Like, I know you get on a bus halfway through the day and you go out there, but they've scheduled me normal classes. There's no mention of ATC on my schedules. I have no idea when or how I'm going there, right? So the first day of school, I go to see my guidance counselor. I'm like, so what the hell is up with this? Like, I don't understand, right? And she's like, well, you can't do ATC because you have to take this extra math class that you haven't taken. And I was like, well, you told me that I'd have to take it during the summer. And she was like, we don't offer it during the summer, so you can't do it during the summer, so you can't do ATC.
Uh-huh.
So the first day of school, she instantly fucks me out of being able to do ATC, right? I don't know if they had ever had me on the class list. I don't know what the hell the deal was, but I don't end up going, right? So she's like, we can put you in math, but we can still put you in AP. Basically what she said is if I wanted to take AP English or ATC, I had to pick one. And so I ended up picking AP English. So right away, like, all of my motivation where, like, I wanted to do all this great shit immediately goes away. Because I'm like, well, now I'm not going to get to do all the advanced shit that I wanted to do, you know? So I'm just stuck in this AP English class. And, of course, I had never really taken an AP class before. And they are way more work. Like, it's
a college class.
Yeah, kind of. Even college classes, I don't remember ever being as much work as that was. Because college class, like, I don't know, maybe it's just because I was better by the time I was in college, but, like, maybe. AP classes give you a lot of homework, a lot of, like,
yeah, there is, like, a lot
shit.
of, if I recall, Brando took AP English. I didn't. I think
I've taken, like, all AP classes in high school.
You took AP Chemistry?
No.
Brandon's always been, like,
stuff.
a straight A perfect student. He just
does. I think he's been
he just executes
above average, but he's like not trying too hard.
But as far as I recall, because I had a few friends that are in AP English, you had to read a lot of books, like a lot of novels.
That was where, well, like we had to read a lot of books, and the thing is, and
you have to analyze it a lot.
Yeah, and here's the thing, because I love analyzing books, you know, like I'm an analyst. That's what I do now, you know. But like the teacher would give us like she had in her head what the correct analysis of the book was, like a list of things that could be analyzed about that book, that I would not necessarily get the same thing out of it, you know? So, like, oftentimes, whatever I presented as what I got out of it, she would be like, no, it's one of these things, you know? Like, one book where she wanted us to read, like, these feminist messages into it that I didn't get out of it at all at the time, you know? And I was just like, what the hell are you talking about? Did you just beat a boss?
Yeah, you just beat the spook.
I beat the spook, one of the hardest bosses in the game.
Is he hard, or is it just getting to him that's hard?
Getting to him is pretty hard. Fighting him is pretty hard unless you have bottle rockets on.
Oh, I think that is how I beat. I had like bombs and bottle rockets.
Yeah, you need them in order to get past him. Shoutouts to Alyssa, because that's also her least favorite part.
Yeah. So, does she watch these?
Yeah, she
probably
keeps up with them.
Because he's in them.
Shit, what was I talking about? Right, the AP English class, right? So it sucked, and there was lots of work. Well, I start writing, she starts, like, assigning us essays and shit, and here's the thing, and I know this logic is broken, but, one of the books that we were reading was this, like, weird, kind of fucked up book about this, like, dude who was, like, an Indian dude, or Native American dude who, like, lived on a reservation and stuff, and, like, a lot of it was about, like, his identity as a Native American guy and stuff.
Sounds like things fall apart, but,
This book had
Native American.
This book had the words fuck and I think pussy and maybe even cunt in it. So like it has all these hardcore swears in it. So I'm in the mindset of like this is supposed to be like a mature college level class and we're reading books that have like hardcore swears in it. So why shouldn't I be able to use those in my writing? So I had turned in some papers that had the words like fuck and bitch in it and stuff like that. But the thing is, my teacher wouldn't actually read these essays until, like, a month after we turned them in. So, like, I get in trouble for it way later. And and around the same time, we had this assignment where she said that she wanted us to take the style of one of the authors that we had read, and like whichever one we chose, take the style of one of the authors we had read, and then try to write in that style about a time when we failed to do something. And so I chose to write about how I had failed to do my homework for this English class in the style of George Orwell, because I was a fan of George Orwell from reading 1984 and Animal Farm and whatever short story we read for that class. So so I write this story that's like this really hardcore, like, suicidally depressed story about me not doing my homework, specifically because of like how I was just going through a period where I was like, I don't want to do any of this shit. I'm miserable doing all this, you know. So like the paper itself was like me trying to say like, I am miserable in this class, please kick me out, kind of thing. Like that was kind of what the paper was about. And but there's like I have a lot of symbolism in there. And at this time I was obsessed with Persona 3, the game. And in that game they have these guns that you, like when you release your persona, you point a gun at your head.
Yeah, they're not real guns. It's like to
right.
shock
What are they
you
called?
Into, like Awakeners? Is that
something like that?
Spirit gun.
And I mentioned having one of those and like pointing it at my head, but then deciding like I don't want to die and then putting it back down and that kind of stuff. But the line that got me in trouble was because this is when I first met Don-san, who's one of our friends. Like we had just become friends at this time, and we were texting each other on Yahoo Messenger all the time because we were both shut-ins, and this was before people came over to my house constantly, or at least before he did. So we were always just texting each other on Yahoo Messenger, and so I simulated a conversation between us in this story. And at one point, he's like, "Dude, you should get out of that class before you go crazy and stab your teacher or something," right? As like a joke. Well,
oh god.
So my teacher reads this, but only like a month after I wrote it, so I don't know why I'm in trouble by the time I get in trouble. And she comes to the guidance counselor about it and like shows it to her. My guidance counselor was a dumb bitch, if you haven't guessed already from the way that she treated me at the start of the year, right? And mind you, this is probably a good 3 months into the school year, I'd say, maybe 4. But my guidance counselor interprets this story as that I want to stab my teacher.
Right.
So the teacher who is concerned, I don't know if she was as... I never really got to talk to her about this. Like, by the time all this was over, I never saw her again. So, I never really talked to her about the story. But the guidance counselor calls my parents and is like, your son wrote this story, something about stabbing his teacher and all this shit. And this was about 1 year after the Virginia Tech massacre.
Oh, God.
And it just so happened we lived on a road called Virginia Tech Trail at this time.
Oh.
So, which is like not relevant, but a funny coincidence. So, the guidance counselor calls my parents, and my parents are freaked the fuck out, right? My dad's like super pissed off and like worried and shit that I'm gonna get expelled or something over the story I wrote. And I'm like, I'm completely blindsided. I have no idea why I'm in trouble. You know, like, I didn't get it at all. I was like, oh, I guess it was the story I wrote, but I don't remember. I literally didn't remember writing that line about stabbing the teacher. So, like, to me, I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? So, the next day, I go in, they call me into, like, a meeting with the assistant principal, Miss Nickerson, and the school psychologist, which I didn't know was a thing. I had no idea there was a school psychologist. So it's the two of them, and we basically just sit down with my parents, and we all talk about this story. And both of them understood that this story was not meant to be violent. They were like, this is clearly like a psychological story. They were like, you obviously were doing it in the style of George Orwell. The school psychologist was even like, I think you'll be a great writer one day, because this is like, your written voice in this is like incredible. So they were like, you know, clearly though you want out of this class, like, or else you wouldn't have written this. So we had this, like, that day I got to skip school for the rest of the day, and then the next day they call me into, oh god, what happened here? It turned into
Moonside.
Neon hell.
This is the best level in the game.
Weird.
Anyways, I gotta wrap up the story because we're 20 minutes deep already. But so after class, after all his classes have ended, they take me into this boardroom that I didn't know was even there in the school. It's like this round table room that I've never seen before. And there's the school psychologist, the assistant principal, the teacher, and like a bunch of other people who I've never seen before. And we're all at this table, and they're basically trying to get out of me that I want to drop this class. And I'm like too scared to like admit it to myself, like that's what it is, because I'm so scared of like the expectation that I should be in this class, you know. And they basically like talked me into saying the phrase, "I want to drop that class." And then they were like, "Okay, cool." They actually called my bus and had him stay after all the other buses had left to wait for me. So like I'm there for like all this time, like for another 5 to 10 minutes in this room talking to all these people, and then I get to drop the class. I walk out. The bus is waiting for me. I get on, and immediately I feel like the greatest champion of Earth's history because I got everything I wanted. I got to skip like 2 days of school. I got out of the class I hated. I got put into like remedial English, which was a fucking joke. I slept through every class and still passed. I got like a heroes leaving and everything. So
you got a heroes sub.
That was like the ultimate like inflation of my ego was after that. Like my ego completely exploded in the wake of that incident.
All right.
So anyway, next time on Digi Bros,
we fight
travel through Moonside.
This place is crazy.